Hello, fellow Toolboxers. Welcome to episode number 356 of the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox. It's an interview with the wonderful attorney in New York, Rachel Baskin, who's also heading with partners and committee members and a lot of other people the New York Symposium that's happening pretty soon. So I want to get this episode out as soon as possible. It's a New York AILA conference, essentially called a symposium, but it's it's got a deep bench of people attending. Really top people from the government, on the private practice side, and a lot of good information. So if you're in Northeast especially, you should go, but it's something worth flying into if you don't mind the cold over New York. I'm in Los Angeles. It's like, 65 and I'm freezing. So I think that's it's probably worse over there. But before we get started, I have some amazing news I want to share. Quick one is we had the E2 session. We had a live E2 training session. We had going over a case study of one case for an hour was a real big success. We're doing another one I think in the third Thursday of January, something like that, 16th. But if you're interested, hit me up. I'll send you the information. It's $250 for new members wanting to join that session, but you're going to get 20, 50 times like the value from it from what you get there if you're interested in getting the E2 game. So that's really important there. But even bigger than that is I finally found some time. I sat down and started inputting stuff in the AI systems online that exist, and I have a bunch of new things I've learned. I mentioned I'll probably do a course on it, but the two I could share with colleagues, if you join our Circle.so free groups, community group, I just want to have a centralized location to put this info out there, is the conclusions of this AI. One is I've been reading AO decisions my whole career, and it's like a love-hate relationship because it sucks the energy and life out of me to read hundreds and hundreds of decisions, but it helps in your mastery. But the AI could read it and then tell you which ones are good and bad, and then you could decide to read which ones you want to read. So that's an amazing thing. It takes a lot of time. The AI is still pretty dumb. When I ask it to do something, it doesn't listen. I tell it 50 times, so it still takes me a long time to do this. But I prepped a couple of the AO decisions for October, the second half of October for EB1As and IWs 01s. And I fed that into a system. I think the EB1A portion I put out so people could see it. It's hard getting the AI to listen to me because it keeps it's a very smart 5-year-old that won't listen to you but understands what you're saying and just does something different. Like I got to keep beating it down until I get the hang of it. But we'll get the hang of it. We'll have more stuff up there. But not only is there a PDF breakdown of 15 cases really quick so you could review with the cover that breaks down the job categories that were, so you quickly see, hey, I'm doing the EB1A on this kind of job category. Let me find the best ones and what happened really quickly before I have to read everything. We also developed a podcast that reads and creates a really cool podcast. So that'll be coming up. I haven't made it too public yet, but if you want to join, the link's there for the page. We got 01, EB1A. So the Decision Art podcast, when you're driving, you can listen to them. It's going to be a big deal because if you're in this area, you want to be up to date what's going on. And the AI really reads and does really good analysis of the cases that are there. And so it'll help you speed up. You don't feel like reading it or you feel like having some in the background going while you're doing other stuff. It comes really helpful. The speakers on it, it's AI speakers, but it's pretty good banter there. We were working on another system, which is being really complicated, essentially download every single AO decision and making them searchable. And once you search what you want, like I want tennis instructor, it brings them all up, and then it gets synopsis and creative, all this kind of stuff we're working on. It's hard to do because the AI is not fully there yet unless you got to beat it down until it understands what you're saying. Then it goes into coding and stuff, so you have to get a coder on that. So hopefully it works out. It's going to be really interesting. It's going to be a game changer in education, and that's what we're here for. So if you're interested, just email us info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com if you want to do the E2 case study session, the old school learning of a human being teaching a human being, and then the AI stuff. You just got to join the Circle.so page. If you're already a member, just go on the tab on the left. It says Talent-Based Immigration. Hopefully this week or next one, I'll start inputting some more PDFs in there and get some more AO decisions, just have a long library. So it's going to be really easy for y'all to get it. But we're working on that kind of stuff. So having said that, without further ado, let's get the show started. Hi, Rachel. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Well, let's jump into it. You're welcome. Let's jump into it. What is your background? Where are you from, and how did you get into law and immigration law?
I am from New York, born and raised in New York, and I still live in New York. I live on Long Island, not in the city, though I did a stint in the city for a bit. I kind of fell into immigration law like I think most people do.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to law school to help people. That's what I initially went to law school and thought that that's what I was going to do and had no idea what I was going to do. I started interning for a trade court judge after 1L year, and I was told you have to, I told him I was doing an asylum clinic. You have to meet my cousin. She's an immigration lawyer at New York Law School. And I did, and I fell in love with it. And it is the only thing I am qualified to do.
Yeah, same here. Let's hope they don't shut it down because I don't know, I have to find a whole new career of some kind. I can't practice law
Right,
yet.
exactly.
Uh,
Exactly.
so, how what was your first entry? Did you work for somebody? Did you start your own firm? How was the initial jobs in the field?
So I kind of meandered a bit. I worked for a nonprofit at one point, doing internships. I worked for law firms doing internships. I started my career working with physicians and doing immigration work for physicians. And then I kind of segued from that to work with clients in the arts. And I mostly work with clients in the arts now, doing visas for anything from sound engineering to musicians
Interesting.
to film producers, etc.
Well, let's start with the
Yeah.
physician part. I mean, were there a lot of J1 waiver kind of stuff, or because physicians are notoriously difficult to get green cards for them?
So I did a lot of O's and then some national interest waivers. Actually the first case I kind of was thrown on was an RFE for a national interest waiver for someone in the advertising world. And it was approved. I was
Wow.
very proud of myself.
What was that? Do you remember what the national acclaim was in there? Actually, it was the old standard,
It
probably.
was it was under the
NISDOT,
old
or is
standard.
NISDOT the new one or the old
Yes,
one?
the
The
old
old,
one.
yeah.
Um, so it was it was uh, it was during DOMA. So she had a niche of doing advertising and marketing in the LGBTQ community, and I kind of leveraged
Right.
that in terms of for national interest. And it worked.
NIW is all about creativity. I've been reading a lot of AO. I always read AO decisions. Recently, I set up I finally got ChatGPT to work where I could upload a bunch of AO decisions and it kind of reviews it for me, which is potentially going to save half my life from reading these. And like the biggest thing I'm seeing recently is like people cannot argue the national aspect of the NIW, how it nationally helps. And there's like some of them like this is really obvious. I'm sorry, I'm surprised they didn't just give it to them. But either they're being difficult or the lawyer, whoever didn't really explain it well enough and they got hit with it. But that's what's something that really be tough about. So,
Yeah.
how did you make? Oh, go ahead if you have to comment on that. But how did you make transition to O1 after that?
Again, kind of fell into it. The law firm that I started working at after like I, just looking for new jobs, etc., kind of did a lot of work in the graphic arts world, not so much in performing arts, but more graphic design, fashion photography. And so I kind of fell into it. And then I worked there for a few years and then went out on my own. And I was working in the city and went out on my own to be closer to family. And I was lucky enough that clients followed. So clients continued to work with me in the arts, and I continue to get to work in that field, which I really enjoy doing.
What kind of team do you have to handle O's? Because they can be pretty difficult when it comes to the amount of paperwork that's required, ridiculous RFEs, clients wanting things done immediately. How are you able to handle the fast pace and paperwork loaded?
So I'm a small firm. It's me and my partner and contract attorneys as required and needed when things get a little bit crazy. And before that, it was just me. And I was able to handle it. I don't have a very high volume practice, so it's not lots of volume. I think, I've been doing it for so long that I kind of, once I have my method of once I have X done, then I can move on and draft fairly quickly.
And you know the field
So
already. It's not like random fields jumping in and out constantly. You have to reinvent the wheel, understand what's going on in their field.
right. And it's things that are generally interesting or like, I want to be reading about or learning
Yeah.
about. So I don't, so it keeps it interesting.
So in your firm right now, you have a partner, and are you a partner in the firm yourself? It's your own firm you started.
Yeah, with me, it's my law partner and
And
I.
how much general staff members do you have like regularly with you? That to extent you want to talk about it. I'm sorry, I'm too nosy, but
It's just us. I think it's easier to manage that
very
way,
true.
right? Because it's a smaller firm. It's a smaller firm,
Yeah.
right? So if it's a smaller firm, then it's not so difficult to manage. Just the two of
Yeah,
us.
that's the beauty of immigration. You keep it small and it still works. You got to keep an eye out on overhead and all that kind of stuff, but you can make it really work really well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, you got this employment-based practice, and you're really active with the New York chapter. Your chapter committee member or lead chapter member as well. I don't know what the job title is, but the New York Symposium is popping up actually. The 23rd annual AILA New York Chapter Immigration Law
Yes.
Symposium is a mouthful. I have to shorten that name, but
Yes.
it's coming up December 16th. So hopefully we get this episode out before it comes out. How was planning for that? How's it been?
We had a really great team of people to plan with us. We did it very quickly and very efficiently. But I think we did a good job putting together a symposium. We always try to put together a symposium that is going to be helpful to everybody, to all practitioners, not just practitioners of business, removal, etc. And then we do in the morning, we're all together for lunch, and then we kind of break out afterwards and go to our removal or business tracks.
So what do you
Yeah.
have in the morning that's going to have everyone like in the same boat?
So we have in the first panel is hot topics, which and again, all of this gets planned pre-election. It all gets planned we plan all of this in the summer. So we didn't know what our hot topics were going to be. I think they're a little bit more.
You kind of see what's there at the time, yeah. Like
yeah.
because
So there may be some adjustments.
Yeah.
I think there was a parole in place that, so I think I guess we'll see. Then we have the government panel speaking. We have really great relationships with the government in New York City.
You have the district director coming. That's wonderful. And CDP. Oh, you have bigwigs coming. Nice.
Yeah, we do, and hopefully they'll come again next year. But so we're hoping that to keep these relationships up and running and going, and then talking about the digital world of immigration thereafter for everybody who's using social media, using marketing, etc. The business tracks I obviously know more about because I have my co-chair help plan the other track. So talking about the changes in corporate structure, which I think is really important, and things that we as immigration attorneys kind of don't think about because we're only qualified to do immigration law, right? And then the new STEM rules, and then I really like the entrepreneur panel. What can you do as an immigrant entrepreneur?
I mean, that's some great attorneys. A lot of them are regulars on the show or for our magazine as well. So a lot of friends. That's wonderful. What note about the corporate side? I saw a TikTok this morning that said the Corporate Transparency Act got an injunction against it by a federal judge, and this is like. Was a scary thing because like for E2s and a lot of business stuff, immigration lawyers help, and you got to be careful because now we're like, no, Corporate Transparency Act was about if you have an LLC. They have this other corporate thing where like if you
the BOI, the business, I don't know what it stands for, but BOI is right. They had to register your company and corporation and who owns it and the ownership, and where it operates, etc.
Okay, yeah, that's the one that today they got injunction. Yeah. So yeah, sorry, it's corporate. So that's I'm like I always try to stick to immigration. Tell my clients they want to hire you for all this stuff, family, divorce, something like that. Just focus on immigration. It's hard enough as it is.
Yeah, no, I do. And then we have the removal track there's parole, there's court litigation, and the last one I forget what it was.
And the asylum and the party.
Yeah, the asylum. Yeah.
It's seeing all these topics and knowing that every single one of them is going to be like nonstop changes every day in the coming administration this year. I kind of got these panic flashbacks of 4 years ago. I'm like, every day you open up USS.org and it's like, oh, this has changed. So I'm like, oh no. So all these panels are like, yeah, you did a good job. Like they're important to get through all of them.
It's not so much different than the last 48 hours, 72 hours, right? On Monday when immigration said, as of today, you must submit your medical exam starting now.
Yeah, I can't believe they didn't give at least a day's notice on that. It's so frustrating because we were about to file a couple of cases, now we got to stop, and some of them have we want to get it in before a certain deadline. I-94 expires. It's like that. I did a TikTok on it. It got a lot of attention, but then people are like, "What does it matter?" And it's like trying to explain to people. People have deadlines right now. If we don't submit it now, their I-94 is going to expire, and then they can't adjust status. So these things make a difference. The government has to think about. Plus, they update the form too. But,
yeah, that happened to me over the fall. They updated the advanced parole, the I-131 form. Same day, due today. So I had to redo an entire form, and I'm not sure if you've looked at the I-131 form yet, but it's a choose your own adventure.
Yeah. They're really going after people who are were refugees and visited home or something like that. They're trying to catch that in there. I always wanted that I-131 to be updated because it was missing the mailing address. They didn't have an addendum portion to it. But then they went way overboard and create this crazy form that's unbelievable.
But they don't ask. So was doing it for a reentry permit, and you have to tell immigration why you're planning on leaving, right? Why do you have to be abroad? Why can't you stay in the U.S.? There's no more section for that
Oh,
on the
really?
form.
Oh, you have to, it's just they don't give any notice. They don't ask
But
them.
you be careful what I say. They're going to listen and now change it and make it to another day.
Well, that's I guess like, that keeps us in business. All these major changes that happen.
I
It's
get it.
just I think it makes their job harder to have to deal with this. There's no USS and just immigration. There's no coherence to it. It's just kind of almost haphazardly. It seems going forward every time.
It's consistently
Yeah,
inconsistent.
you have to have like, I have friends of mine who like to have like certainty a lot in what they do. Sometimes clients too. And when you tell them this immigration law, maybe this will work. There's no rules, no policies, discretion. They always like just aghast. They think like it's like there's more certainty or there's more rules and procedure. I'm like, nah, they may have discretion. They claim this or claim that. And what is extraordinary ability? We don't know. What's this criteria be met? Who knows?
Forget about what's extraordinary ability. What service center is my case going to
Oh
go
yeah.
to? I don't know. I file it and then I find out. I
And
don't know anymore.
I've called them before and they say it's at this service center. Then we get like a notice like the next day is from a different service center. You never really know what's happening.
Yeah. So, yeah, that I think that's a part among the most. I think one that's the most frustrating, but I also find like comfort in the fact that I'm not the only one that doesn't know. Like, right? None of us know,
Mm-hmm.
so we're all on the same like.
Yeah.
So it's not like competition, right?
Yeah.
Like we're not going to be like, well, John knows and you don't. I'm like, nope, John, nobody, none of us know, and so I find comfort in the fact that all of us are kind of in this together of
Yeah,
this.
you could be doing this for 30 years and you're on the same boat as someone who just started the next day. And they could, that's helped me out in my business because, like, as soon as I came in, I started learning like the changes immediately. So I was ahead of people who were doing it a while because the changes are the same for everybody. And so you could just come out of nowhere, left field, and really jump ahead in this field.
Yeah,
So,
but you got to stay on your toes, right?
big time. What are your plans for 2025? I mean, obviously, managing a law firm, just whether small or big, it's a lot of work. It seems like it's a ton
Yeah.
of what do you have planned? Just generally business and practice.
Um, business. I keep networking, keep growing. And sadly I don't know that I'm alone in this thought. I think I-9 audits are going to become a bigger thing
Oh
than
yeah,
ICE and raids are going to become a bigger thing. And Long Island, I think, is probably going to be a target. So maybe making sure that people know that foreign nationals know their rights and employers are up to date on their I-9 compliance. So considering that and how that and doing that that's what I anticipate in
yeah.
2025. I don't think any of us can really anticipate what's coming. It's just going to be a surprise every Friday
Yeah,
afternoon.
and I-9 is time intensive. They have like 20 employees one by one going through them, talking with them. They always have signed the wrong places. They forgot to mark all the boxes. There's a lot of companies that help with that, non-lawyer companies, but inevitably, if you
Yeah.
get that call, we got to stop everything and spend a week just figuring out what's going on with the paperwork.
Yeah, and if ICE is there, ICE, you don't get to be like, I'll get back to you when I get back
Yeah,
to you. You have to get back to them when they want you to get
yeah,
back to them. It's not, and unfortunately, in a lot of circumstances, you have to tell them to fix it or potentially fire
hmm
someone, and it's that's not. I had to do that a few years ago during this time of year, and the client was upset that they had to let people go during Christmas, and I was like, I can't. You have to, like, they're not authorized. So it was pretty rough.
big time, big time. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show. I hope to have you on again. Whenever something's
Yeah.
updated, let me know. If people want to reach out to you, what's the best way they can do that?
On my email, or at the website. At my website, there's a box to reach us, or my email is rachel@lab-plc.com.
Very good. Thank you so much. Stay on the line for a sec. We'll talk some more offline, but I really appreciate you coming on.
Great. Thanks so much, John. I appreciate it. Thanks. Bye.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Rachel was so kind to come on the show. The conference seems like it's going to be a blast. I can't wait till I could just travel the country. We have a friend, Ruby Powers. She's in Texas. She has her own podcast too. Immigration lawyer that does a lot of like business training and stuff. She goes to every conference there is. I'm kind of jealous. It must be a lot of fun, but we'll get there too, and hopefully get a chance to. Going back to what I said in the beginning of the show, If you're interested in the E2 case study to learn that business-based practice, and it's $250, it's a steal to come and sit. Half the people that were in the first one wanted to come to the second one, so I just took half the seats away. So get it while it's hot. It's next month. We have 5 weeks, so get sooner. I'm not recording this much. We're going to get this out, but get in. And if we see it's very popular, we'll do it more often. I got other E2s, NIWs, EB1As, all these kind of stuff. In marriage cases, I'll do. We have a full-on marriage green card course, but maybe it'll be easier just do 1 hour off sessions on case study. People like learning that way more. So having said that, have a good one. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.